God bless. I want to give honor to God, who is the head over my life. I'm reading from Chronicles 2, chapter 7, verses 1 through 8. My subject is the dedication of the temple. When Solomon finished praying, fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifice, and the glory of the Lord filled the temple. The priests could not enter the temple of the Lord because the glory of the Lord filled it. When all the Israelites saw the fire come down and the glory of the Lord above the temple, they knelt on the pavement with their faces to the ground, and they worshiped and gave thanks to the Lord, saying, He is good, His love endureth forever. Then the king and all the people offered sacrifice before the Lord, and King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 heads of cattle, 120,000 sheep goats. So the king and all the people dedicated the temple of God. The priests took their positions, as did the Levites, with the Lord's musical instrument which King David had made for praising the Lord, and which were used when he gave thanks, saying, His love endureth forever. Um, Opposite of the Levites, the priests blew their trumpets, and all the Israeli were standing. Solomon consecrated the middle part of the courtyard in front of the temple of the Lord. There he offered a burnt offering and the fat of the fellowship offering, because the bronze altar had made could not hold the burnt offering, the grain offering, and the fat offering. So Solomon observed the festival at the time for 7 days, and all the Israels with him, a vast assembly people from Limbo to wide Egypt. On the 8th day they held an assembly, for they had celebrated the dedication of the altar for 7 days, and the festival for 7 days more. So, a celebration. They were celebrating a festival in honor of Jesus Christ, in honor of sacrifice that they could make into Jesus. Okay. Back then, the animals would be sacrificed, but now today it's people. When you can be able to save souls, you know, and they come to the Lord, then you're working just like Solomon did. Okay, because whenever you do a festival, some people call it Passover, some people call it a festival. It's a celebration of bringing souls to the Lord so that they can be saved. Okay. Um, so when Solomon finished praying, it was fire. It was fire. It was lit. Like, they could see the glory of the Lord. The people could see the glory of the Lord from heaven come down. Okay. And Solomon, you know, he sacrificed. Well, King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 heads of cattle through this festival, okay, and 120,000 sheep and goat. So the king and all the people dedicated to the temple of God. So it was like the prayer was so high, the Spirit of God was in the midst, that it was so many people, it was so many cattle that were being sacrificed because of how high the Spirit of the Lord was in the temple. Okay. And in here it talks about, like animals, but right now it's talking about people. People, when they do a rededication to the Lord, when they come to the Lord, when lost souls come to the Lord, um, these are human sacrifice when you begin to you're celebrating Christ, but you're also trying to bring people to Christ so that people can see that through Christ, um, Christ can change who you are if you only believe. You can have peace, you can have love, um, but it's a higher living when you begin to walk like Christ. Okay. So my subject is the dedication of the temple. When we begin to bring the spirit of the Lord in the midst of the temples, the spirit will be on fire. It will be on fire. You ever, back in the olden days, you go to a holiness church, okay, for a revival. You thinking you only gonna be there for you get there at 7, and you think you probably gonna be leaving at 10. But the spirit of the Lord was so lit in the church, people didn't leave until like 12 or 1 o'clock because the spirit covered the church. Okay. It was people falling out in the church. It was people getting filled with the Holy Ghost. It was people rededicating themselves to the Lord. It was people tearing on the altar. That's how high the spirit was. It was the glory of the Lord in the temple. So my subject is the dedication of the temple. You can get this from Chronicles 2, chapter 7, verses 1 through, I said I was going to read 1 through 7, but I read 1 through 9 verse. So have a blessed one.